welcome and get ready to an amazing experience. So you get the chance to see Chef Christiane preparing the dessert and then to taste it. I remind everyone that you can get the recipe by scanning the QR code here. We would like to thank our sponsors, President Professional, Andros Chef, Illinois, Selmi and Braga. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me well, or should I speak louder? If I'm becoming too quiet in between, then just raise your hand. Give me signs. Yeah, waves. All the waves. Give me signs. I know that I need to speak louder or that you can't hear me. If you have any questions in between, please feel free to ask. Stop me, and I'm happy to go a little bit more into detail if anyone has a question. What we're going to do today is a Maracaibo chocolate and chili sablé. So the Maracaibo chocolate is a very nice cocoa bean from Turkey. The cocoa bean comes from Venezuela. It's very rich in cocoa flavor, but it's still very smooth. It has, because it's very slowly roasted, it has some nice nuances of cinnamon and orange blossom, which goes very well with the chili that I'm going to incorporate into it. And also I'm going to mix it with some yuzu curry and passion fruit curry to put a little bit in exotic touch to it, which goes also very, very well with the cocoa flavor. So I will let you taste at the end, and then you can give me your opinion, see if you like the creation or not. I'm happy to see some familiar faces here. Our friends from like Deutsche Hospitality, thanks for coming. I will start right away to make the sablé. For the sablé, I'm having here some butter, cocoa powder, chili powder, because we want to make a chili sablé. The chili powder I have mixed already with a little bit of salt. I'm having flour here, normal T45 flour, ground almonds, almond powder, a little bit egg, and sugar for the sweetness. So what I always recommend is that you keep the butter at room temperature. If you use fridge cold butter, the butter is too hard to incorporate all the ingredients well. So always leave it out the night before, there's no problem. And when you mix it, a lot of people use the so-called hook. I actually prefer this paddle because you want to get it into like a crumbly texture. It goes much faster, much better with that, so you don't mix up the butter too much. We have our mixer here. So we put the butter inside.
By the way, I thought you got the chance to watch the chocolate fashion show, and you have absolutely to come and watch it today, the last day of course, at 6 p.m. where Chef Christiane has prepared an amazing chocolate bread. Really.
We also have a beautiful chocolate press at 6 o'clock on that stage.
6 p.m. today, don't miss
So
it.
don't run away. Bear with me after this demo. Stay a bit longer and see the dress. It's spectacular. I'm very, very happy with it. I'm proud of the whole team that has worked on it. It's fantastic. So let's get back to the sablé. We have the butter in here. With the butter, I'm going to add the chili powder and the salt. I'm also adding the ground almonds to it. And I'm going to add the cocoa powder. If you want to know the recipe with all the grammage and everything, the QR code there you can scan and it will give you the recipe if you want to try it at home. I mix that slowly together. Don't mix it too fast because you don't want to incorporate too much air into the butter. If you put a lot of air into the butter and then you try to bake it, obviously the butter becomes soft, the air goes away and it starts spreading much more as when you mix it slowly and you don't have too much air inside. So I mix it slowly, incorporating all the ingredients in the first step. You see, I still have my egg here, I still have the sugar, and I still have the flour. So what I'm going to do next, once I have the cocoa powder, the butter, the chili, the salt, the ground almonds all incorporated into the soft butter, I'm going to add the egg. Slowly. I'm going to add the sugar. And I'm going to add the flour. Normal baking flour. If you don't have access to a T45 flour, I prefer T45 because of the gluten content that it has is much better for making pastries. So you have suppliers where you can get it from, like Master Baker Studio sells it like in small quantities for like household baking. You don't have to buy like a 25 kilo bag. If you can't get it by any chance, then you can replace it with all-purpose flour. That also works. But I always say the best is to have a T45 flour. So we keep on mixing that a little bit until it becomes into a crumbly texture. Once it has a crumbly texture, you have to rest it overnight in the chiller. Because I just talked a little bit about the gluten in the flour. Also cocoa powder. Cocoa powder is technically a starch. So all of this will absorb moisture from the egg, from the butter, because the butter that I'm using is a French butter from Candia, which has 82% fat. And the rest obviously is liquid. There's still water left in the butter. There's water amount in the egg. All of this water will be absorbed to an extent from the starch and from the gluten in the flour. So it needs a little bit time. And that's why you rest it ideally overnight in the chiller. So don't worry, I don't keep you here overnight. You don't have to stay with me. I'm not handing out sleeping bags. But you see now it comes together. The mixture, you see, and it's not completely combined yet, but it is still a little bit like crumbly. So that's when you should stop. You don't want to overmix it. You don't want to overwork the gluten. And now it needs time to rest. So we're taking this out. Do I have from here? Oh, they are. So you will wrap it into this cling film.
Yeah, he's coming in live. It's okay, it's okay. I already got the shot.
So the crumbly texture, I just combine it a little bit more. And then put it here. Wrap it. When you have it in the chiller, it can easily take any smell from the chiller, anything else that you have might be in there, like onions or what. It will easily absorb it, so wrap it always well in cling film. And then leave it overnight in your chiller, so it absorbs everything well.
You wanted to grab what was inside.
And once you take it out from the chiller the next day, you can easily roll it. And I roll it about 2 millimeter, 2.5 millimeters thick. And then I'm going to bake it in the oven at 160 degrees
Right now they are also coming.
on this so-called silk pad. It's a silicone mat. As you can see, there's holes inside. So any steam that appears during the baking process can evaporate because this silicone sheet is not completely closed. So through these small holes, the steam can easily evaporate. You get very nice crunchy texture. So I rolled it about 2.5 millimeter thick, put it on this silicone sheet, put another silicone sheet on top so it doesn't stick on my baking tray, and to the top also it can evaporate nicely. And you bake it. So you bake it for 20 minutes, roundabout. It depends on the oven. Every oven is a little bit different. but I usually bake it around 20 minutes on 160 degrees, and then it should look like this after the baking. So I have a few smaller ones, which I'm sure you want to try, and a few bigger ones that I'm going to make here as a sample. But that's literally, you can even see the structure from the silicone sheet here, right? So just in between bake, easily taken off. You can store it in an airtight container for days and days. There's absolutely no problem if you want to prepare it before, or you might like the recipe and you want to have it every day. Then you can make a big batch. But I have prepared it for you because, as I said, I don't want to keep you here overnight. So that is our sablé. There's the chili powder inside, and obviously inside I'm going to fill a nice filling because nobody wants to eat like just dry sablé. I'm going to make a chocolate ganache, also with Maracaibo chocolate, and I'm going to make the yuzu and passion fruit cream that I was talking about. So we layer this later in between the sablé. So to start with the chocolate ganache, I'm taking a pot. No, it's not plugged in. Technical problem. Who can make fire? Yeah, I think now it works. That might take a moment, so I'm talking a little bit more to you. So to make the ganache, we're making a cream ganache. There's different ganaches that you can make. A ganache is usually the filling that you put into a praline. That's what it is commonly used for. You can also use it in a cake as a filling. You can put it into a tart. There's many applications for it, but the most common application is in a praline or in a chocolate truffle. So there's different type of ganaches. There's a cream ganache, and there is also a butter ganache. Today we're making a cream ganache, which means the ganache is based on whipping cream, not based on butter. And for that, I use a little bit glucose syrup. Also available nowadays in supermarkets, so if you want to do it at home, it's not a big problem anymore to get these ingredients. The glucose and the whipping cream I'm bringing to a boil, which on this stove might take a second longer or a minute. And then you see here I have butter, I have the Maracaibo chocolate that I told you about from Venezuela. And I have gelatin mass. Does anyone know what gelatin mass is? No? Never heard? It's very simple. It's gelatin. It's actually powdered gelatin. You can get gelatin sheets in the supermarket. You can get gelatin powder, right? So gelatin absorbs water. That's what it normally does. And when you want to use it as a sheet or as powder, you normally have to soak it first in water to absorb a certain amount and then dissolve in whichever product you want to make. In this case, the water is already in the gelatin. Because what we do at the school and also what we teach our students is very simple. You have 1 gram gelatin powder or gelatin sheet. It absorbs 5 grams of water. That's the ideal ratio. 1 gram gelatin, 5 gram water. Gelatin cannot absorb more. If you give it less water, if you would only put 3 or 4 grams, the gelatin would be not fully absorbed. So it's very hard to dissolve. So 5 grams is the ideal ratio. And what we do is we use the gelatin powder, we mix it with water, and we have the gelatin mass. So when your recipe says, as an example, you need 1 gram gelatin, that equals 6 gram gelatin mass. I have that already here. I think it's 3.6 grams, if I'm not mistaken, in this recipe. I have this on the side. I have some butter. And I have the chocolate. The chocolate I fill in a high tall container. Can be a mixing jar, whatever you have, because we're going to blend it. I have this stick blender here or a bar blender, and I'm going to blend the cream with the chocolate. I make basically an emulsion, and as soon as it is emulsified, I can stop. Same thing with the ganache that we're making here. you have to keep it in the chiller overnight. So everything has to always be prepared the day before. But the good thing is, I've done this already for you, so again, you don't have to stay overnight. So I'm just waiting now for the cream to boil. Whilst this is taking a long time, I think I start talking with you about the exotic fruit cream that I have here. And I choose today a passion fruit puree and yuzu puree that I'm going to mix. Has anyone heard of yuzu before? You know what yuzu is? You have heard about it? I love it. I don't know about you, but I love it. It's yuzu is an Asian citrus fruit. It is assumed, I don't know if there's probably no record, but assumed that it was originally growing wild in the middle part of China and Tibet. And then during 618, if I'm not mistaken, to 907, it kind of made its way to Korea and Japan during the Tang Dynasty. It made its way to Japan and Korea. And today is very famous in Japan, especially in Japan. Japan alone produces about 27,000 tons every year of yuzu, which is a very small citrus fruit. It's usually between 5.5 to 7.5 centimeters big. And it's normally, when you see it in the shop, it's like yellowish, greenish, depends on the state of how white it is. But it's only like 5.5 to 7.5 centimeters. It's a very small citrus fruit, very tangy. A bit of a mix of like lemon, grapefruit with a mix of mandarin. So it's very unusual citrus flavor. I really, really love it. And the inspiration for that recipe today that I'm making with you comes from a sauce that is very famous in Japan, a yuzu sauce. It's called kosho. Kosho is a Japanese sauce. Kosho translates basically to yuzu and pepper. It's a Japanese sauce where they use yuzu. They have yuzu zest, chili, like red and green peppers, chili peppers, and salt. And this kosho sauce kind of inspired me to make a dessert, basically with salt, chili, yuzu, and I'm adding chocolate to it because obviously we are patient. I love chocolate. So that is the inspiration behind it. For that recipe, I'm going to put the passion fruit puree and the yuzu puree in my pot. I take a separate bowl. In this bowl, I'm putting my whole egg. I always recommend to use pasteurized eggs if you can get it. Some supermarkets have it now. You can find it online. I'm using this pasteurized eggs that I get from Egg Station here in Dubai. It's produced here because it's just safer. In this case, I'm not boiling it to 100 degrees once the egg. I only bring it to 85. So technically it's pasteurized, but you always have the risk of salmonella, etc. So to avoid this, I'm boiling it. I'm using pasteurized eggs instead of like boiling it completely. Also, there's recipes where you can't boil it because there's so much egg inside it will split. So in that case, it's always safer to use pasteurized egg. I also have the sugar here. The sugar I can add already to my puree and boil this because that takes a long time. But finally, the cream is boiling for our garnish. Woo-hoo. So you see the cream and the glucose that I put here. They just started boiling. I'm just adding it to the chocolate. We only have 1 cup, so we can choose if we mix or if we cook. Let's see if we have another one. There's one more. Here we go. So we cook and we mix. So I'm taking this stick blender, hold it under the surface. You don't want to incorporate a lot more air. Mix it. Putting my gelatin mass in. Always add the gelatin mass whilst it is still hot because it needs to melt. If it becomes cold, you can't add it anymore, the gelatin would melt. And at the end, I'm going to add my butter. And when you feel there is no more butter pieces, there's no more gelatin pieces, no more chocolate pieces, everything is like properly emulsified, well mixed together, then you can stop blending. And you take this cream and keep it in the chiller overnight. Because you see now it's very runny, it's very liquid, it's almost like a hot chocolate. Once you keep it in the chiller overnight, it sets, the chocolate becomes hard. So I made this already yesterday. That is what it looks like the next day. And now our stove is like on fire here. It started boiling already. Now it goes fast. So can you smell the passion fruit? It's like really fun. I love this for me. I know you love passion fruit, right? But in South Africa you call it granadilla, right? Granadilla. Granadilla is technically a little bit different than passion fruit. The passion fruit is the small thick one. Granadilla is a little bit bigger and yellow. So it is boiling. I'm adding it to my egg. Slowly. Any idea, does anyone has an idea why I'm adding the puree into the bowl first with the egg and not the egg directly in the pot? Yes, exactly. Because we don't want to have scrambled eggs, right? So we're heating it up slowly. I'm putting it back into the pot. And now the trick is, I hope I can manage with this stove here. Don't jinx it. Heating it to 85. I'm not bringing it back to boil, like I said. I don't want scrambled eggs. I'm just heating it to 85 degrees. And then I stop. That goes relatively fast because my puree was boiling already before, right? But we're already on like 65 degrees. Because the egg, what egg also does is like, it's basically when you have scrambled eggs, it starts setting, right? It becomes setting, but it starts setting long before. So you only have to heat it to like 85 maximum and you will see it starts thickening. We're already to 70. Also, this technique that I'm using here for this cream is very famous in England. It's basically a curd. You might have heard of a lemon curd that's very traditional in England for afternoon tea. You see how much thicker it is already. That is just from the egg setting. Now I'm going to use my seed blender again. At first I'm incorporating my gelatin mass because it's still hot and it will melt nicely. Then I have some fresh orange zest. So I just took a fresh orange, zested it. So you have nice orange zest to give it a bit more citrusy flavor. Also putting that in. The reason why I don't boil it is it loses its color when you boil it and it can become quite bitter. So I add it later now. Now I'm having here cocoa butter and normal dairy butter. Most of it needs to be incorporated. But excuse me, as fat usually rises to the top, that's why you have this stick blender. You incorporate it slowly. You make it basically an emulsion, and as soon as it is completely emulsified, you can stop blending. First the butter, you see I don't put all the fat at the same time. I slowly put it in. The cocoa butter in here Some people might wonder, like, why don't I have only this butter? You can do that. Normally, a lemon curd only has butter, not cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is a quite expensive ingredient, but it also has a very, very nice mouthfeel. Because the melting point of cocoa butter is exactly the same melting point as your body temperature. So when you have it in your mouth, it gives you the feeling of like melting away. It doesn't stay, it doesn't leave a fat film or any grease on your palate when you come. So it's a very, very nice fat to use. An expensive fat, but like it gives you a very nice stability because cocoa butter sets up to like 36 degrees. It starts only melting at like 36 at your body temperature. So the butter also gives you a very nice fresh dairy taste. So I like to combine these two, just to give like a very, very nice mouthfeel and give it a nice texture. So don't make it too hard and not too soft. So you don't need this anymore. Again, this thing overnight. But as much as I like to have all of you here, and I appreciate the support, I've done it before, it's very sad. I made it yesterday. You see, it's still a little bit soft, but it's not as runny as it is right now, right? So it's a nice, soft texture. So what I'm going to do with these two products now, I'm starting to take it up. I have my sablé I made yesterday. I have my yuzu and passion fruit cream, and I have my Maracaibo chocolate ganache. And I have a little bit decoration here, some micro herbs. So first, the chocolate ganache. I put it into a piping bag. I'll put the piping bag with a nozzle, so I can pipe a nice round line. And see how thick it is now. Like from the ganache that we made, it was almost like a hot chocolate. The chocolate has set to this consistency. Maracaibo chocolate, by the way, a very nice chocolate, as I said, the cocoa bean from Venezuela, but I love using it. In 2014, which is now like 10 years ago, this was awarded as best chocolate in the world. And for 10 years, I love to use it. It hasn't changed, nothing better came across for me yet. I still love it. And you see I pipe a nice line of like the chocolate ganache on here. I think you can all see it there, right? I'm taking more sablé. So I'm sure when you saw the amount of chili that I put in the sablé, some people might be like, it's a lot of chili. But with all the other ingredients, you will see it blends nicely together. You can taste it, but it's not overpowering. It will not take your breath away. So this sablé, I just put it on the side next to our Maracaibo chocolate ganache. So it sticks. And then I'm going to take this yuzu and passion fruit cream that we have made, this curd, and I pipe it on top. Check what I need before I even say it. It's like my right hand. That's my husband. I think he needs to learn from me. So I put this cream on top. And for the proper indulgence, because tropical is not tropical enough if you don't put fresh mango on there, right? You look like, oh, mango, I love mango. You love mango? Chocolate and mango. Mango is actually a very interesting fruit, right? You know there's about 500 varieties of mangoes in the world. 500. So there's still this big fight between which mangoes are better, Pakistan, India, whatever. But there's 500 varieties of mangoes in the world. And a mango tree can actually grow up to 100 feet, about 30 meters. And it can be, I think if I'm not mistaken, 30 to 40 years old once you can harvest. It takes 5 to 7 years before you can harvest the first fruits. So it's not that you can plant it and next year you have mangoes. Actually, if you go from the seed and you grow it from the seed, it will take 5 to 7 years before you have the first mangoes. So we're adding some mangoes on top. Okay. And what I just decided earlier today, yogurt. I tasted it and thought like yogurt is going to give it the last bit. So what I did, I just mixed a little bit whipping cream with Greek yogurt. You will see it really tops it off. And it's super simple. Just take Greek yogurt from the supermarket. Obviously it has a little bit of fat, it has a nice flavor. Mix it with whipping cream. And then I'm going to decorate it with some micro herbs. In that case here I have some lemon balm. But any micro herb works, like you can also use mint leaves or anything. Nobody's asking questions, nobody's raising their hand. No questions. Everyone is waiting. Can I try? Because I want to eat it. I'm hurrying up. I hurry up. You can try in a second. Don't worry, but you can still ask me questions if you have any questions. Don't worry, I will still give you something. Even if you ask questions, I will give you something. The gentleman in the back there. Yes, what is your question? He lost his words. You're thinking. You're thinking of your question. I have a question for you. What's your name? Tom. Okay, Tom. What is your question? Tell me. In the fridge? You can keep it in the fridge for a couple of hours without any problem. But then obviously at one point the sablé that we made will absorb the moisture from the ganache and the exotic cream. So it will be not as crunchy anymore. But you can avoid it by brushing the inside of the sablé with cocoa butter or with chocolate. So it doesn't absorb the moisture so quickly, and then you can actually leave it in the chiller overnight. Yeah? Any other questions? No? Everyone wants to try now. Yes, I hurry up. I'll put like the last leaves on. There we go. And our finished dish. And you don't need to wait. You don't have to share this only these 5 pieces. We have prepared much more for you. And Chef Pooja, my brilliant assistant.
He has a question.
You have a question? Yes, tell me.
What's the skills you have to make
The skills you need to have. I think you can make it at home. You don't have to be a professional chef. If you are like a home cook or you like cooking or baking, then I don't think you will have any issues following this. But also in our school in Jumeirah Lake Towers, in Richmond Master Baker, where I'm working and where we have a full team of chefs, we're teaching people. So if you ever struggle and you can't figure like how to do it at home, or you have issues, or you want to become better and learn the next step of like baking or pastry, then you're more than welcome to come anytime to us, and we will teach you. There's absolutely no problem. But this is a relatively simple lesson. If you try it once or twice, I'm sure you can master it. And if not, then you come to us. Did everyone got a piece? What do you think? Valentina's still busy. You want me to hold your coffee? No? I can see now you will come back to me and you say like, oh, we want that in our home recipe. I got thumbs up here already. It's not spicy, no. You can taste it a little bit, but it's not overpowering because it balances with all the other ingredients. Mr. Tom. You want it as a birthday cake. When is your birthday? December. Well, it looks like it's your wife next to you. I can teach you how to make it for your birthday. But she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to. Sorry? It's this size. This size. Yeah,